Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Now, Arsenal are working on a couple of deals behind the scenes. The Athletic are reporting that Arsenal want top secrecy and top silence around their deals to avoid bidding wars, but also to avoid other clubs coming into their negotiations. In this video, we're going to be diving into all the top targets and who is going to be the first deal Arsenal bring at the Emirates Stadium, who has the high chances of being among the first top 2, top 3 signings that we do this summer. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, let's get into it. At number 1 is David Raya. I think David Raya's deal is very, very close. The latest we got from David Raya was Fabrizio Romano confirming that Arsenal were working on paperwork to get the David Raya deal done. Now, for me, that was a little bit of a lie because this is a deal that was agreed last summer. Arsenal agreed personal terms. Arsenal agreed all paperwork with Brentford. I don't think that there's a lot of paperwork to be done. I think Fabrizio just doesn't have new information on David Raya. But why I think that David Raya is going to be our first completed done deal this summer is you look at all the groundwork being done, you look at all the nitty-gritties being agreed. What is left is Arsenal to pay the money into Brentford's account and then maybe sign a few documents to exchange ownership of the player, and that will be 100% done. We don't have a number 1 goalkeeper right now. Actually, as we speak, when I say this, as we speak, Ramsdale is Arsenal's number 1 goalkeeper. You can imagine that. He is the only goalkeeper we have that we can call our own. So at the moment, I think David Raya getting that deal done is on top of Arsenal priority, and I don't think we are going to finish up June without getting an announcement that David Raya has signed for Arsenal on a permanent basis. So I expect that one to be done within the next 10 days, at least before we enter July. Next one on the list is Victor Gyökeres. Now, of course, in recent hours, a couple of reports in Portugal have come out and said Arsenal are very close to signing Victor Gyökeres. Could it be the first done deal? Could it be the first signing that we do? I don't think it's going to be the first one. I don't think he has chances of signing before Raya. I think Raya is a 7-8 out of 10 to be the first done deal. Victor Gyökeres, though, is around 5.5 out of 10 to be the first done deal or the second done deal. I think if Arsenal are serious about Gyökeres, he's going to be among the top 5, the top 3 first done deals. Why I think he's going to be an easy deal for Arsenal to complete, he's not playing at the Euros. When you look at David Raya, what makes that deal easier is that Raya has already agreed personal terms with Arsenal on a long-term basis. With Victor Gyökeres, we're talking about a player who's not at the Euros. We're talking about a player Arsenal can access. We're talking about a player that if you trigger this release clause, and that's why this deal is very easy. If Arsenal trigger this release clause, agreed personal terms with the player, boom, it's a done deal. So for me, this one is around 5.5, and we could see him among the top 3 first deals to be done by Arsenal if they're seriously considering bringing him at the Emirates Stadium this summer. This one would be a very, very good one. This one would be a very, very good deal, in my opinion. Next one is Amadou Onana. There is a lot to talk about the Amadou Onana deal. And first and foremost, we've got to talk about the fact that Amadou Onana is one of the players that Arsenal are in negotiations with, with their club, to bring them at the Emirates Stadium. With Victor Gyökeres, it is not yet, information doesn't come in from the biggest sources. With Onana, most of the sources say Amadou Onana to Arsenal is on. Amadou Onana to Arsenal is a big possibility. Now, I won't be surprised if Arsenal sign Raya and Onana next. I don't think Raya signs before. I don't think Onana signs before Raya. I think Raya will sign before Onana. But with Onana, Belgium could exit the Euros before Spain. Belgium will exit the Euros before Spain. And you know what I'm talking about. That means that Amadou Onana will be available for a transfer before even the Euros are over. I mean, I've looked at Belgium. They don't look good. If a Belgian fan on this channel, sorry, your nation doesn't really look good. So with Amadou Onana again, I expect that Arsenal have done some groundwork and we have covered some some ground on this deal. We are talking about a deal for an Everton player. Everton need to sell. They need money before June, and Arsenal need to capitalize on that advantage and that weakness. That if Everton are willing to listen to offers before the end of this month, before the end of June, this is a deal you could do. 50 million, maybe that's a little bit high, but I could see a deal being struck between 40 to 42, 43 million euros or million pounds, around there, and everyone goes back home happy. So Amadou Onana, for me, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would place him at 6 out of 10. It's a deal that I really think could happen. He's played 17 games last season as DM and 17 games as CM. So that means that when we talk about the dynamism, when we talk about the tactical flexibility Mikel Arteta is looking for with some of these players, this is a player that he really, really is big on. And this is a deal we can do. In terms of the financial, readiness, I think Arsenal have the money to go and sign, Amadou Onana. So for me, this one, again, if we are predicting fast done deals, this one is definitely on top. Next one is Victor Osimhen. Now, with Osimhen, I am not 100% this is a deal that is off. I think Arsenal are still there. We are still watching the market. We are still looking at what happens with Osimhen. Should his price come down to a ridiculous 70 million pounds or 75 million pounds, I won't be surprised if Arsenal get their big bag full of cash and walk into Victor Osimhen. But in terms of Arsenal getting this one done early, it's like a 1 out of 10. So I don't expect Osimhen to be among the first done deals if he were to sign. I would expect him to be among the last deals to be done. Why? Because I think every team on the market is trying to avoid paying the Osimhen tax. A lot of money, the release clause tax. He's 100 million? Why? Why is he at 100 million at the moment? Because it's the striker available? Yeah, maybe we understand that. But how about we don't sign a striker at all? So Arsenal will wait. In the end, what's going to happen with Osimhen is, as we enter August, we expect Napoli to walk away from their 90 million valuation, 100 million valuation, to around 80 million there. If Arsenal are serious and they want a centre forward and they want to win trophies, Osimhen for 80 million is a bargain. Osimhen for 80 million is a no-brainer. So this one is not among the first done deals. I wouldn't say Arsenal get Osimhen quickly, but it's one I would keep my eyes open for. It's one I would keep my eyes on. Osimhen to Arsenal, keep your eyes very, very open. Javi Simons. This one, guys, I said keep your eyes open for Osimhen. When it comes to Javi Simons, I would be very optimistic. This is a ridiculous deal. PSG don't want to sell, first and foremost. They don't want to sell. So one of the options, and the real option that's going to happen, is Javi Simons working on a loan deal, signing for another club on a loan deal. Now, he has been at PSV. He has been at Leipzig last season. And in the last 2 seasons, he has been really impressive. Impressed Mikel Arteta, impressed Manchester United, impressed Liverpool, impressed Bayern. All those clubs are dying to get their hands on Javi Simons. PSG have made it very clear that they would prefer not to sell. They prefer to loan out and then sell in 2025. I think when it comes to Arsenal doing loan deals, when it comes to Arsenal being ahead of everyone in terms of these market opportunities, this is a market opportunity I see Arsenal take advantage of. This is a market opportunity I see Arsenal really, get to do. A loan deal initially, no money involved, and then we sign him in 2025. Come on, that is what we are good at. Now, again, I don't see this among the first done deals. I think this would be like a 3 out of 10. The Netherlands are not really convincing at the Euros, but I expect them to go to the round of 16 and expect them to go to the quarterfinals, at least to the quarterfinals. So I wouldn't say that this is among the first deals that we would do, This one for me would be among the last deals. Actually, if Arsenal were to go and sign a player like Mahi from England, I tip England to drop out of the Euros quicker than the Netherlands. So I would say Javi Simons, 3 out of 10 to be among the first 3 deals, but 6 out of 10 or even 7 out of 10 to be among the last deals Arsenal do. We are looking for a forward. We're looking for a winger. We're looking for a midfielder. Like he can do all that by coming to Arsenal. We pay his wages and we just get him on a loan deal for a whole year. If he works out, we can agree a deal with PSG in 2025. That's a good deal. I don't think Arsenal are looking at their deal and they're saying, we are not interested. I think Arsenal 100% interested. Let's wait and see whether we can get the deal done. Mahi for me is, again, all these players are at the Euros, which makes the deals very difficult and very complicated. But Mahi is like Ben White. When Arsenal signed Ben White during the Euros, he was he at the Euros by that time? Was he at the Euros? Yes, he was at the Euros. He was? Yeah, I think he was at the Euros. If I remember well, Ben White was at the Euros 2021. Yes, he was at the Euros. And Arsenal done a deal for him, and it took some time. It took some time for us to get that deal done. It took some time for us to announce the player, get him on medicals and everything. But a deal had been struck with Brighton quite earlier on. I see Mahi as that kind of deal. Now, there's going to be a lot of competition on Mahi. Man United will want to pay that 50 million. Arsenal will want to pay that 50 million, but also Chelsea. I see them as a club that will try to come in and pay that 50 million. But the amount of interest that has been reported between Arsenal and Mahi recently gives me vibes of a player that Mikel Arteta is big on, a player that will surprise everyone, but Arsenal are really interested in him. So among the first signings, maybe not among the top 3, but I would say among the last signings, definitely. So for him to sign before July, I don't see that happen. For him to sign before August, I can see Arsenal work on a deal in July, and then by the time we get to August, a deal has materialized. So I would say Mahi, 3 out of 10 to sign early, but 6 out of 10 to sign in August. Again, for me, the deals I see happening. Mahi is a deal that I see happening. Javi Simons is a deal that I see happening. And interestingly, Onana is a deal that I see happening for Arsenal this summer. So Mahi, definitely one of those players I would keep my eyes open for among the first deals Arsenal would do. Kadioglu is another one. Now, Kadioglu is a difficult deal. Very, very difficult deal to predict how it's going to go. First and foremost, I think Kadioglu is not top priority for Arsenal. Arsenal would first have to miss out on Gehi, miss out on Gerard Hato, miss out on, who else are we looking at left back? Osimhen Diamonde. We first have to miss out on all those players and then go for Kadioglu. At the moment, Borussia Dortmund are not waiting for us. They are in talks with the player's agent. They are also in talks with Fenerbahce. By the time Turkey crash out of the Euros, a deal could have been struck between Dortmund and Fenerbahce. But definitely Kadioglu is among the players Arsenal will try to get if we don't get our initial options. It's the same thing with players like Pedro Neto. I think Arsenal are big on Williams, right? On Nico Williams. But if Arsenal fail to get Nico Williams, Arsenal might just have to move in for a Pedro Neto. We know his injury-prone nature and we know his problems. But if you don't get Nico Williams and you really want to get a winger, then we might move in for Pedro Neto. So for me, Kadioglu, again, I would keep my eyes open. I would keep my ears on the ground. However, one player that I think Arsenal will wait for, one player that I think Arsenal will dedicate their time to, is Nico Williams. I think Williams is a deal we'll try to do. Last summer, Arsenal tried to bring in Mohamed Kudus. And that deal didn't happen because of FFP. And one of the things I don't understand is why Arsenal didn't first try to get Kudus before getting Kai Havertz. Yes, Kai Havertz has come good. He's done well and all that. But for me, why didn't we first try to get Kudus? Like, why didn't we get the sensation first before getting the player that we were not sure of if he was going to work out or not really work out? Why didn't we first get the sensation first? Why didn't we first get Kudus? Anyway, Nico Williams, for me, seems to be the winger that is going to replace Kudus in the list, replace Rafinha in the list, replace Pedro Neto in the list, and replace all the likes of Isak in the list. He's going to be the winger that Arsenal go big on. Spain are going to take their time in the Euros. This is a very difficult deal to do because the boy wants to play for Barca. But among the first deals, keep your eyes on Nico Williams.